It is a pleasure for me to have here with us a special guest from the University of Buckingham, Juan Castañeda. He is Doctor of Economics, Professor of Economics, lecturer at the university, and he has experience working and researching in monetary policy and central banking. Yeah, welcome, Juan.
Thank you very much for your invitation.
Today he is here with us to share his views on the challenges of the Brexit and the foreseeable impact it will have in the UK's educational system. The Brexit, as we all know, may have a significant impact on the UK's economy, but obviously this decision also entails other repercussions in the field of education. Currently, all European students have the same rights as British students regarding university fees. Unless otherwise agreed, the Brexit may lead to EU students being compared in terms of fees to overseas students, which, as we know, sometimes even triples the amount, the fee amount. From your experience, do you believe university fees will rise as a consequence of the Brexit?
Well, that's a very good question, but it's yet to be confirmed by the universities in the United Kingdom. And my answer would be, we don't know for sure, but I believe that there will be a different response depending on which university we're talking about. Mm-hmm. If we're talking about Russell Group universities, the top universities in the country, so Cambridge, Oxford, Warwick University and so on, they have the leverage to fix their own fees regardless what happens to Brexit to some extent, because they have an international brand. They have a very worldwide known reputation all across the world. So those students, they may be missing from the rest of Europe, from the continental Europe. They may gain from other parts of overseas territories, for example, from China, from Asia in general, and so on. But other universities, not as top universities in the country, may have to appeal to these continental European students in order to make the universities still attractive. Mm-hmm. So they may not want to raise student fees to continental European students in the future in order to keep the numbers steady at least.
I see.
That's my guess, but obviously it's just an estimate, obviously.
It's to see in the coming years.
Yeah, just yet to be seen. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, one of the most prosperous initiatives within education is international mobility. Mm-hmm. In this framework, the Erasmus program has had for years lots of prestige, and as we all know, it awards grants to EU undergraduate students to help fund their studies for 6 months, 1 year in European countries, in another country. In the UK, there are more than 125,000 EU students who are awarded these grants every year. In the case of Spain, the UK receives 4,000 Spanish students, which represents 10% of the total amount of international students which the UK receives per year. In this sense, my question is, how will the Brexit influence international student mobility within the Erasmus program?
I wouldn't envisage any major change in the numbers, because still the United Kingdom is one of the most attractive countries for Erasmus students for obvious reasons, because of the language. Obviously, English is by far the most spoken language in business, at least in international relationships as well. So it's a very attractive offer to go to the United Kingdom. So I would say, but I guess again this is a guess, that is for the benefit of the United Kingdom and for the rest of Europe, continental Europe, to maintain these links in the future in a sort of a bilateral agreement between the two parties. So even if the United Kingdom is leaving the EU, it may want to have a bilateral arrangement with the rest of Europe in order to maintain this program, as it happens with other non-EU countries, such as Norway, Turkey, Switzerland, and so on. Okay.
Yeah, those countries which all belong to the European higher education area.
Exactly.
So I understand that the UK will want to stay as a member of that area.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Student mobility is not the only issue which worries British and European universities. In fact, there is a growing uncertainty concerning research and concerning how academic international collaboration amongst universities is going to continue taking place and how it's going to be affected. According to Vivian Stern, who is the director of Universities UK International, she claims that UK universities received this year £850 million from the EU for grants or research contracts, which benefited around 20,000 workers, predoctoral and doctoral students. My question in this case is, how will the Brexit influence the funding of R&D projects and other teaching initiatives at university level?
That's a major issue for the higher education system in the United Kingdom. And you can tell that the whole body, the whole industry of universities in the country, in the UK I mean, is lobbying the Prime Minister in order to maintain this funding. Because at the moment, as you said, according to those figures, the United Kingdom is the net recipient of the most amount of awards and money given by the European Research Council at the minute. It's not that it's just the United Kingdom, but it's a sort of a partnership of United Kingdom researchers with other continental European researchers based in the United Kingdom. So the question is, now that the UK is leaving the EU, who is going to pay for those funds? So now it's for the British government to make an arrangement with the British universities in order to secure that funding. Exactly. So it's a huge political battle now at the minute, because yes, the United Kingdom is going to save quite a lot of money because it's a net contributor to the EU budget, but it's now to decide politically in Westminster, in the House of Commons, what they are going to do with that money. Are they going to invest it in agriculture, environment, or in replacing those funds, research funds, at the minute the European Union is paying to British universities? So this is something that is going to be discussed in the next few years, and it is for the interest of the United Kingdom to maintain those research funds.
So interesting. There are so many issues we could be addressing, but to end, I would like to ask you a final question, which I believe worries many of us, and it is whether leaving the EU is equivalent to leaving this European higher education area that we've commented before, and whether UK university degrees will maintain their validity, or will there be changes in the convalidation process which will have to be adopted?
Yeah, this is... if I may say, in very vague terms, is a mess, to be honest. Because so many things that we took for granted for so many years, now they are going to be negotiated, put again on the table in order to acknowledge and recognize each other's equivalents, right? In terms of degrees, for example, pension rights, for example. So again, maybe it's because of my vision as an economist, I don't think we should incur in more transaction cost, as we say. Why making our lives so more difficult? So if we are at the minute acknowledging, the number of hours British universities are teaching our students, right? And if we think that this is good enough at the moment, why not maintaining that arrangement in the future? That's going to save a lot of effort, a lot of discussions, and again, there is place for cooperation rather than for confrontation, if I may say.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Juan Castañeda, for being here with us at UCJC. It's been a pleasure, and hope to see you soon again.
Yeah, the same with me. Thank you very much.